Okay, so this is politics and bullshit. Again, don't know what episode it is. I'm shit like that.
Yeah, we're starting on bring it all back.
Yeah, true. I'm Aaron Broomfield.
Greg Rogers.
Adam Feeney.
Morgan Evans.
Yes, we got Morgan Evans in the building, everyone. International superstar.
Superstar
Oh
again!
man, you're embarrassing me, man. I ain't no superstar.
No, just fucking, this is my homeboy, man, for a long time.
Yeah, we go way back in it.
Way back. But we haven't seen each other for a while, man. So what's been going on? You been alright?
Yeah, good man. You obviously like the same with yourself. There's been a big transformation going on the last few years, and obviously we can talk about it now. So it's going to be good.
Yeah, tell us about it. Tell us about it.
So-
Where did it start?
Basically, I mean, like I want to tell you, like we was always a little bit naughty back in the day, and obviously just like doing what like young kids do and that. And I think it was like after some real traumatic things happened in my life. Like I lost my father. I broke up with my ex-girlfriend. I didn't really know I wanted to go in my life. I had a city centre gym and I didn't feel fulfilled. Like when I had loads of material items like Mercedes and house and everything. And like I was just searching for meaning, and I went to Thailand to escape. And in Thailand I had like a spiritual awakening.
Did you come back in yoga pants and that?
Near enough, bro.
I'm joking.
Yeah, but when I came back and I basically like sold everything I own, and then I literally used that money and went and travelled the world.
Nice.
Yeah,
Just like that.
just like that. I mean,
how long did it take you to sell everything and kind of get going?
it took about 3 months to get the gym sold, to get rid of the car, and to like cancel direct debits because like my outgoings were huge, you know, because I was living that matrix life, you know,
Yeah.
like that direct debit life and that. So like that takes a lot of work to break, you know. But once I finally got myself free of that, I booked that flight and I went to Australia to start with, and it took me over to Brazil, and I've been there for the last 2 years, and I came back 2 weeks ago. So and I feel blessed to be in the presence of you guys now.
Wicked, man. Wicked sounds good. Sounds like you've been having some fun, brother.
Yeah.
Well, no, man. Tell us a bit more. What was happening in Australia?
So I went to Australia because I wanted to like kind of reinvent myself and like be in a different place, and obviously the weather's amazing there. And I got there and I was still carrying like a lot of traumas from obviously my pops dying. I was drinking a lot and stuff, and I ended up. It was a short-lived journey. I literally spent only like 5 weeks there, and then I went to Brazil, and Brazil was kind of like my promised land. Do you know what I mean? I really connected with the people there.
I bet you did.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, they're
I've always
beautiful
wanted to-
people there as well.
No. Always wanted to go to Brazil, man.
Yeah,
Not been there yet.
there's something in the air there.
Is it?
Yeah,
On the
yeah.
water?
I mean, like obviously, like, you know, the Christ Redeemer and all that. That's like obviously like their kind of monument, isn't it? But like the people do it justice, you know, because like they're so spiritually connected. And I felt like when I was in their presence, they managed to heal me and give me like a kind of a way to deal with what was happening to me. And
So did you go to Brazil for that reason? Did you feel like, because obviously you was in Australia, what made you pick Brazil?
I think there was a few reasons. So obviously I played football back in the day, and like obviously they're the boys at football, aren't they?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there was always this little thing when I was a kid that I wanted to go to Brazil, like any young footballer wants to. So there was that element, and then there was kind of this Jesus element, even though I didn't know Jesus personally back then.
Yeah.
Like there was that element going there, and the things that were happening to me during this period were things that I couldn't sort of understand.
Yeah.
So I felt like Brazil was the place to go, the great unknown, and I wanted to test myself. I wanted to throw myself in the deep end. Like it's almost uncharted territory, isn't it, Brazil?
Yeah, no, it is definitely. Could you speak the language? Did you have friends out there? What?
So it's crazy. When I was in Thailand, when all this experience happened, the first thing that happened was on New Year's Eve in Koh Phangan. I ran out of money, and literally I was so thirsty. I lost my mates, and I was at this bar, and I was so dehydrated. And this guy came up to me and was like, "You want some water, don't you?" And I was like, "How do you know I want some water?" He goes, "I can see it in your eyes." I was like, "Yeah." He goes, so he bought me a water, and then he said, "You don't want to be here, do you?" And I was like, "Nah." He's like, "Do you want to come out into the jungle and meditate with me?" And I was like, "Whoa, is this geezer weird or what?" I thought, like, this is crazy. So I went like with him to the woods, And we started meditating together. And he started telling me what I could see behind my eyes. And literally I was like, this guy's psychic or something. But that was kind of like my first spiritual experience. Where I was like, and this guy was an evoluted being, you know?
Yeah, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Where were you before you approached me with the water? Sorry, Koh Phangan.
Koh Phangan, yeah, the full moon party.
Was there any drugs involved?
Nah, there was no drugs when I was drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
But there was no drugs. A lot of my mates was on the mushroom shakes.
Is it?
Yeah, and we can get into them later on because they played a part in it later on in the journey.
Okay.
But in that moment, it was just alcohol, and I actually wasn't that drunk because I'd had an experience a couple of days before. Well, because I was told I was drinking too much.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like a lot more careful on that New Year's Eve, even though most people aren't. And so I met this guy, and fast forward to Brazil. When I thought about going to Brazil, I thought, who do I know? And I remembered Fernando, this guy, and I contacted him and said, bro, I want to come to Brazil. I feel it's calling me. And he said, listen, come and stay at my place in Sao Paulo, and I'll get you sorted in that, and I'll put you on this path. And literally, I spent 2 weeks with him, meditated with him most days, and then he sent me to a spiritual eco village in Bahia. And literally, I was there for 14 days. No television, no telephone, no alcohol, no smoking, no connection with the outside world. Meditation, yoga every day. Learn about spiritual principles, mindfulness, all that. And that was kind of like when it really started to move forward.
Was that the first thing talking that sounds sick. To just go somewhere for 14 days, no TV, no phone, no connection. But what was it like doing it? Was it hard, or was it easy, or was it just you just felt blessed, or what?
The first 5 days was brutal. Like, I realised how programmed I was into the Matrix, you know, and literally how much like these exterior items and these things really controlled my life.
Yeah.
And when I was just left with myself for them 5 days, I felt naked. I felt weird, you know. I couldn't put my finger on it, but didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And it came to a head when I was in the meditation circle, and we'd been there for like 2 hours, and my head just started like bubbling up and that, and I literally like had pretty much a breakdown, you know, from like the unplugging of like this sort of technology and stuff.
When you say your head started bubbling up, you mean like over a period of time, or literally like?
It just like over the days, I started to get more and more, I wouldn't say angry, but more and more frustrated. Frustrated, more and more like, what is going on? Like, do you know what I mean? And in the end, I like stood up in a meditation circle, said like, something's happened to me, I need to go outside. So the lady took me outside, got a bucket of water, poured it over my head, and that was when everything started changing. I started to like move into the, so I surrendered to the whole thing. Whereas before I felt I was battling with it a little bit, you know. And after that, like, it just went from strength to strength to the point on the 14th day, I literally felt like a Buddha, man. I felt so cleansed, so pure. You know what I mean? It was crazy.
No, that's sick though. I'd like to do that. I would like to try it. You know,
100%, mate. I wish I could go somewhere like that every weekend.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. I was like, yo, nothing. I tried a couple times. I tried to go to some derelict warehouse and just sit in there, and I couldn't even get away from it. Yeah, fire sirens coming past. Like,
It's hard, man. You don't realise how much we're controlled by it.
Did you say it was in the jungle, this place?
Yeah. So it was like 2 hours down a dirt track. Like I said, in a place called, it's a state called Bahia, and it's a place called Itacaia. And it was like 10 mile, it's beautiful, 10 mile white sand beaches, all like tropical trees, and it's like an eco village, so it's self-sustaining, dry toilets, vegan food, they're all planting their own crops. Mate, it's like, it's another level. If the world ended and we wanted to restart, this is the place that you would go to.
Yeah, that sounds sick.
So what made you come back?
So basically, like I met a girl in that meditation retreat. We got together. We went travelling around Brazil. She showed me Brazil in all its magnificence, and then we settled down together in a fishing village. And I think she was like my angel, but as time grew on, I realised she wasn't like my lover. You know what I mean? She was like my best friend, but there wasn't that like physical chemistry. And in the end, we separated like probably around December last year, and then I moved into Copacabana by myself, which was a bad idea, back into the Matrix.
Yeah, we started talking about that, so just elaborate on that. So obviously you've been on this journey, and everything's going good, your life's, you know, in a nice place, but you make a change, conscious change to the spirits, and then you go into the devil's lair.
Yeah, bro. What's that? Is it
Just go and test it. Just to go and test your willpower.
Yeah, it was. It was almost like a bit of ego. I didn't want to give up on Brazil. You know, I'd learnt the language, and I was like, I can't just go back home. You know, just because I was separated with this girl, and so I went there, and I like had all these big dreams and these big plans. And when I got there, even though it's the most beautiful place ever on face value, it's still a city. You know, and it's still.
Hustle and bustle.
Hustle and bustle, the empathy and the love, it's the grid, bro. Yeah, and I don't know, man, it just like, it was just a wave of like bad things just kept happening, almost like the universe was saying, right, you've done your spell, now you need to go home. And I remember it came to a head. I went to a church with this girl the one night, and I was sat there and like I was feeling a bit lonely and isolated anyway, and I spoke to my higher power, and I was like, I need you to give me an undeniable sign that I need to go home.
Do you know how many times I've asked for them? How many times have I asked? Go on, carry on.
So
if you get one, I'm screwing, man, because I've asked for them. I've been in some jams, man. I'm like, come on, man, just something.
Come on, help me out a little bit.
Just something, drop a rain, something on my face. I'm blessed. Nothing.
Nah, I mean, this wasn't really a good sign, so like, so you're probably lucky, bro. So I came out of there, and within the 500 metres of walking from the church back to my apartment, someone pickpocketed me and robbed my wallet with all my money, all my cards, everything. And literally, even though I was like gutted, once I realised, I looked at the sky and I was like, that's it, let's book the flight, let's go home. I've been spoken to, you know.
That's mad, that's crazy. So, it sounds like, obviously, when you was, where was this?
Copacabana, Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah. So I've been there, so also I know the hustle and bustle of it is real. It's not like, you know, it's not Bourneville. It is like, it's hard city, man.
Yeah.
Especially if you're there on your own.
Yeah, it was, like I said, you look at it and it looks like Miami or something, you know, it's just beautiful, and the people walking around are absolutely stunning, but there's like this dark shadow in there, you know. Obviously the poverty is huge there, and it's like a crazy place because you got super rich people living by super poor people, and it's like you can feel the kind of the battle in there. Do you know what I mean?
The tensions.
The tensions, So it was a great experience, but for me, I think me and cities on a whole are kind of done with, like in the case of living in the city. You know.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely trying to get out of the city, get further
into nature, innit?
Yeah, definitely.
It just feels too much about that thing of being in the city, doesn't it? You know, like it feels too much hustle and bustle sometimes, or I don't know.
I think Birmingham's like that. Birmingham's very dog eat dog. Even being in Nottingham, I didn't really feel like it was dog eat dog, but definitely, I do, even like just small interactions I have with people. I think Birmingham is very, everyone's trying to up one on each other constantly.
Well, you think about it, like all cities are like hubs where all the money is, in it. So if you've got that mind where you want to make money and you're like real hustle and bustle, you're going to go to the city because that's where the dough is. So that consciousness is rife in the city, you know. So there's not as much community. There's not as much like I'd even say like empathy in the cities as there is like in the villages, in the towns and suburbs.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, so I think a city is a different animal. You know. And I think it's all across the world. Like most cities are like that.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when you've got like, what is it, super cities, 10 million people in them.
Some of them are ridiculous, aren't they? But do you know what I mean? Like you see the levels of it anyway. Just going from Birmingham to London, like you see the step up in that. So the fact that the cities like New York and stuff, do you know what I mean? And you have the same thing there as well. You have like the super rich living next to the super poor. You have hoods and this and that. Do you know what I mean? Like it seems to have a negative effect on. Does kind of drive people apart, doesn't it? That the city needs looking after, it almost. Do you know what I mean? So you have an underclass and an underbelly that's kind of up to a bit of no good, and then you've got the super rich, which are up to no good as well. But on a different thing, they're playing a different game.
Different chessboard.
Different chessboard.
You're talking about meditation. Is that something that obviously you learn in the retreat, and have you continued doing that?
Oh man, like for me, meditation saved my life, and like anyone listening, like please try it. Because for the majority of my life, I was always in my head. You know, I was in my ego, and I didn't know how to escape. And alcohol was a way for me to escape, and then meditation was a clean, healthy way to leave my thoughts and go into that kind of transcendental state that maybe you get when you do drugs or you do alcohol, but it's healthy. So.
I know what you're saying, man.
Yeah.
I've done some meditation like for a while, a few years back. I've done it for a bit now because I always found that being in the city, when you meditate, you feel like you're in the hustle and bustle. You're working, you're doing what you do. You go and meditate, you get into a zone, and you're in a place where you're just like at peace and that, and you just feel blessed.
Yeah.
And then you go back out into the city again, and it hits you all over again. It was too up and down for me. Do you know what I mean? But it's something that you need to practice daily, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a muscle. It's got to keep growing, like the gym when you're working on your biceps or your chest or whatever, you know. But yeah, you need to find, like, even if you live in a city, you need to have your safe sanctuary in it. You know, like that guy Fernando, he lived in Sao Paulo, and he had like a special room with all like plants and stuff, and like it looked like the Amazon in there, and he had like his own meditation space. Ooh. So like he was like a metropolitan monk. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And like he taught me that it is possible to live in the city and still be spiritual. You know, but you've really got to demand everyday rituals to try to keep you connected to spirit and not fall into the materialism trap which the city has.
Yeah, man. It's my favourite. One of my favourite quotes. I think it was a Pharoah Monch lyric actually. He says something like, "External gratification is not happiness eternal."
Wow, oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Just blew his mind.
Yeah. Well,
no, trust me, it blew my mind, and that's why I remember it, because I just remember, you know, it's just the truth, man. Like, you're not gonna find happiness from external gratification. It's gonna come from within, isn't it? First, we speak about this. How many times we spoke about this?
Yeah,
pleasure and happiness
is
the different, and we gotta stop seeking so much pleasure and start striving to stay happy, because happiness is not something. It's not something I don't think you can attain. You can't say, right, I'm happy now. I think it's like ongoing.
It's a growth, and it's a flower that you got to keep watering every single day. And the kingdom of God is within you. Even Jesus said that, you know. So it's like we have to do things every day which are watering that spirit, which are watering that light, you know. Because, like you said with that quote, we're all chasing outside ourselves, and there's only so much outside yourself that you can accumulate before it becomes numb, you know. If you even look at the story of Buddha, he was literally in a palace, wasn't he, for 30 years. He had everything he ever wanted. His dad never wanted to show him outside the palace. He lived in luxury, women, drink, whatever. And then he went outside the palace one day and he seen the suffering, and it really affected him, and he realised that I'm never ever going to find true happiness staying in this palace. I need to go out into the jungle, and I need to like awaken myself. You know, I need to like awaken the light within me, you know. So he went through like a period of like 6 years where he was almost torturing himself, you know, to try and like starving himself, doing loads of crazy yoga moves and holding it for days on end and mad things.
Putting himself through his paces, like.
Yeah, doing the opposite to the pleasure.
Yeah.
And then he found the middle way, which was basically like just in between them two. But he went from one extreme to the other and that. So I think like in today's society, we're all fully on the pleasure side, self-gratification.
Can I tell you something mad? I never told anyone this. I think I kept it to myself. When I was a kid, I used to take the mattress off my bed and just sleep on the slats for like 10 minutes. So that when I put the mattress back on, I appreciated the bed way more.
Yeah, that's it.
I did it as a kid. I trained myself, and when a couple of times, like when I'll tell you another fucking story. I fucking lost my mind and that, and I've hit the streets, and I'm just walking around the country. Walking to detox. Just let me finish. And I hit the dirt, man. I literally hit the streets, and I wanted to just be like, have nothing, do nothing, through my phone, through my keys. It's similar to your story, to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Through my keys, through everything. I just said I just want to be off the grid. Yeah. But I did it right here, so I'm walking the street. I'm walking
jungle.
No, wait, I found a few jungles on the way. I fucking walked through Taxi Bridge North, the fucking opposite ways, I think, ain't they? Ended up in Bolton, Liverpool, just walking around, mate. And like, I swear I had some I had a
A
spiritual
mystical experience,
Bruv,
yeah.
I was lying on the floor and something told me to get up, and I got up and threw up on the floor, and then something told me, lie in the sick.
Yeah, yeah.
So laying in the sick, and it sounds grim. It's a grim story.
Nah,
people,
bro.
I'm sorry about this, but I'm gonna so I got back up.
Yeah.
Got back up. Said pissed in the vomit. This is grim. Now laying it, and it's like this is the lowest of the low I can be. Like I'm just lying in my own piss and vomit. Like what am I doing? And I'm saying this to myself, but this voice is saying to me, just do it. And I fell asleep.
I swear to God, I thought you was going to say, shit yourself.
No.
I was bro.
No.
I was having a tug in that as well.
No, not that far. Honestly, you never got that far. So anyway, I slept and I woke up in the fucking snow, bruv. Like snow like this. The listeners can't see that, but there's a lot of snow.
Yeah.
I'm lying in this puddle of whatever in my favourite coat and that. And I get up and I carry on walking to the door. And the story goes on and on anyway, but I'm saying like there's something in me that makes me kind of like every now and again I want to hit the ground in it to humble myself.
Yeah.
I need to humble myself, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, you've been through exactly the same experience as me, mate. Like, I'm not even joking. I had exactly the same thing where literally something was speaking to me and I was surrendering to it. And it was telling me to do the most degrading things. It was like I've been hijacked in my mind. It was a mystical experience, and you can go all through the ages and the ancients, they all talk about it. And just because we're in Birmingham, it's like 2019, don't mean it.
Yeah, man, the shamans and that. Yeah, the shamans
Yeah.
love that stuff, man.
So, like, I've been there. I've been there a few times, I think 3 times I've been there, and it's like, you just follow. Like you said, you get off the grid, you just go walking, and you just do whatever pops into you, and it's liberating as well.
The wind blows on the left, and you're like, something's telling me to go that way.
Yeah. Well, I was saying this in the car. I was like, okay, if I'm meant to go there, bring me 3 birds, and 3 birds would fly over my head.
Mad
But
things
it's like it becomes like a simulation, and it's like all, and no one can understand it, but you know it's like fully real what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's like, obviously, hopefully the listeners know I'm cognitively functioning now, and I'm not in a strange
I was going to tell more of the story, but like, stop there. And the white coats rock up.
Yeah.
Like, yo, you're coming with me, son.
Now, my one took, well, I told you I had a brief spell in Australia, I didn't elaborate on that, and basically what happened was I had exactly the same experience as you, and it took me into a church 10 a.m. in the morning after a night out, and I wasn't on drugs or nothing. I've been sober for probably about 6-7 hours from there, and I walked into this church and I just started running up and down the church, headbutting the walls, because it was telling me to headbutt the walls, and it said like release your mind and stuff, and I was like, this is the morning service, me running up and down this church. Anyway, all the
people sat in there.
People are sat in there, yeah, and I'm running up and down this church, right, and I get on my knees, yeah, right, and I'm like, please help me, and the woman goes, please Jesus, like, save him, and my heart chakra, yeah, was going like 2,000 beats a minute. I was like, I'm dying, I'm having a heart attack, and they laid me in a room, yeah, and they all came by the room and was like praying for me in this room, bruv, and I'm like, I'm going to die in Australia by myself, I don't know no one, this is the end game for me, you know what I mean, and that's why I believe like, you die and you reborn, do you know what I mean, and then literally, I went down to my last beat, and then literally I blacked out, opened my eyes, and the people that were stood in the door started like clapping, and they were like, give me a hug, man, well done, and then literally like, they looked after me from there, bro, and that's when I had this experience that you did, bro.
It's mad. It's literally mad. But you understand.
I understand.
I try and explain it to people. This is probably the most I've ever spoke about it on them levels. You know what I mean? Like you don't really tell everybody them things there, but this is a public show. And we're just trying to move things forward, you know.
No, but it's true. But like you said, we was discussing that earlier and how that affected you. But you're telling me about is it the psychedelics?
Yeah.
And because we were talking about basically, we were talking about having experiences, like our body experiences, but people tell you that you are married. How do they know? But they want to push like, we didn't go to put like pharmaceuticals on you that are bad. They give you a bad experience, but then you was telling me there are things out there that give you a good.
Yeah, well, they're from nature. I mean, for me, like, God built this place perfect, in equilibrium, you know. So the plants that are coming out of the ground, they've obviously got a place for humans, you know. The problem is a lot of us are having, like you say, the pharmaceuticals or even like say cocaine. It's like comes from a coca leaf, but then it's mixed with all sorts of like sulfuric acid, stuff like that, you know. And it's like it's detrimental to the human. Whereas like ayahuasca, which is what the shamans have been doing for thousands of years in the Amazonian jungle, which is a special tea. Basically, that's not been tampered with. They're just like
plant-based.
Plant-based, yeah. And you have like I've done it twice in Brazil, and you have about a 12-hour mystical experience where literally like for.
Can I ask what chemicals in it? What's the?
It's DMT.
It's
dimethyltryptamine.
Yeah, but they found a way for it. Basically, if you smoke DMT,
that's what it was.
Yeah, it's the same, but they figured out a way of extracting it in places like Brazil and stuff like that, where you can digest it. Yeah, because normally you just purge straight away and you'd just be sick, like if you ingest it. So they figured out a way of breaking it down.
So it stays in there, and it holds for like 14-hour experience. Whereas like if you ask anyone in England that might have smoked DMT, it's like a 10-second experience. But
I smoked it and it was short. It was like 5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah,
it's like it was unreal though. But I think I was scared to do it when I did it because I didn't. You know what I mean? You know what you know, and then when someone says try this, you're like, So you know what I mean? When I did it. And I can just remember like sitting back in this chair and you do feel euphoric, bro, like you're floating in this chair, like seeing all like, kaleidoscopes, just like colours and that, just like bro.
Which was a hallucinogenic?
Yeah. Like, it's weird.
It's what your pineal gland releases. It's like what your pineal gland releases.
So we naturally produce.
On definitely.
And in dreams.
Yeah. So it's part of us anyway. So I mean, you're getting it from Mother Nature, and it's inside us. So it's definitely like it's there to be consumed. Like in certain times, like do you know what I mean? Like.
I'm glad you said that. I was going to say, get me a pint. Man.
Yeah. But yeah, with obviously the 14-hour experience. This is how I know that nature's conscious, and I believe that everything's alive. The whole thing's energy, like dancing for itself. And basically, the insights into my life that this plant was giving me during this experience was like insane. It was telling me where I'm going right with my life, where I need to work on. It was like taking me through the darkest depths of myself. Then it was taking me to a place where literally it felt like the whole world was cradling me like a baby. Then I went to a pyramid light city and seen these like illuminated beings walking around, and it was like, this is like Atlantis or somewhere. That's a special place.
Well, hold on, you was dreaming this?
No, when I was literally on the ayahuasca, I was in a bed and there was like 6 people on the same thing. Was in a room with a shaman, and she was like blessing the room.
Give me this address, man. That sounds like some shit.
Yeah. I know. What I'm trying to do is build a travel package where I'm literally going to be trying to take people over there to have this experience if they want to have in the future.
You do well with that, Cause someone I spoke to the other day is doing like a fitness holiday thing. It's the first time I've heard of it. I know you do like yoga retreats and stuff like that, but someone's saying they're doing a fitness holiday. So they sort out a week of like a boot camp kind of thing. I suppose they've been doing it for time, haven't they? It's like a boot camp. You book it and you go and exercise all the time. So if you was to do like a retreat kind of thing, mate, you'd smash it. Man.
Yeah, just literally picked up from the airport and you go straight into like an eco village, and then we've got the shamans ready for you, and it's going to be like sort of 7 to 10 days where you're going to explore yourself, meditation, be around like-minded people, get to really express yourself.
Sounds sick. Man.
I think you've got your first customer by the looks.
100%.
I'll see you after the show.
I was going to ask you a question. Like going right back to the beginning of your story. You're saying you play football, yeah?
Yeah.
Did you play much football?
So I played fast.
That was a rubbish segue because that was blatantly like I know the answer to the question. But just tell the listeners, please.
So I played for Aston Villa from 11 years old till 17, and I was at Trials of England schoolboys at 15. I was captain of Aston Villa in the youth team, and then I had a spell at Liverpool because I had an altercation with the youth team manager at Aston Villa. Then I went on trial to like 10 different clubs after that, and then eventually my agent dropped me, and my football career came crashing down because I was trying to live like a superstar without ever having a first team appearance, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But it happens.
Yeah.
You get paid. I mean, how much was you on at that point?
But, like, you're looking like 2 bags.
Right, so if you're in 2 bags, and you've not saying not kicked a ball, but you've not even made a first team appearance. You're a young lad
Yeah.
You're gonna lose your head, man.
Yeah.
When people say to me like, "Oh, no, I'm like, these are children.
Of course it is,
You're
man.
children."
And like you're like wrapped in cotton wool. You told you the best thing since sliced bread. You keep getting bigged up. You got girls try to contact you 24/7. You go into the nightclubs. All the promoters want you in there because you're like, even though you ain't really made it yet, but you're still like bringing.
Yeah,
I was bringing
hot
like Lee
prospect.
Hendry and like loads of people with me and stuff. So it was like you was just you thought you made it before you had. And that's the biggest downfall, and that's why I really respect all the footballers playing now in the highest levels and that, because the discipline that you need at a young age is serious.
That's something that don't get said very often, and it is that the discipline need to be in the top flight and like to stay on point for a long career. Do you know what I mean? That discipline of not getting led astray by all of the glitz and glamour that comes with that kind of being a professional athlete, and like you say, people blowing smoke up your ass and treating you different so that you think you're something like before. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Imagine how much scaled up that is on like a Rooney. You know when Rooney falls off and yeah, but it's mad, and he is mad.
Yeah, he done well, Rooney, to be fair. Like all that, because even at 16 we knew who he was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he did well, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's and also as well the pressure as well, because especially the Premiership, it's the best league in the world. So you're not only just dealing with people from your town, from your city, you're dealing with people from Africa, Brazil, like Cameroon, everywhere. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it's like you're never safe in your position. You get caught napping. Have a bad game or two bad games, you get him in place straight away. There's not many jobs like that.
And off the field as well, you got to maintain a professionalism, or you should, innit? There's only there's probably loads of players that are quite professional, but one player that springs to mind is Paul Scholes, man.
Yeah.
Professional to like every game, give it his all. Could tell he was the same in training. Fucking never see him in the newspaper, never see him in the media. Like proper professional footballer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Did it well, man.
Definitely.
And definitely one of the best midfielders this country's ever had.
Yeah, definitely. But who was the best player that you played against?
So I get asked this all the time, and
Standard question, but I wanna know.
I mean, I played with Daniel Sturridge.
Yeah.
Now he was from 10 years old, 11 years old, just God-given talent. You know, you could tell he was going to be a superstar when he was a kid. So he was amazing. One player that really let me down, who was probably one of the best ones I ever played against, was Nicholas Bentner. We played against Arsenal and we was winning 2-0. They had Muamba, they had Larson, they had was it Justin Hoyt? I don't know, they had some boys anyway. We were winning 2-0 and at half time Bentner came on and Steve Bold, the manager who used to play for Arsenal, was like, this kid's a real deal. And we was all like, oh, he's played a few first team games, but he came on, he scored a hat-trick. Every goal he scored, didn't even celebrate. He just walked back to the halfway line, looked at Steve Bold and was like, how am I even playing with these kids? And he was our age. Do you know what I mean?
Who's that, Nicholas Bentner?
Nicholas Bentner. So he let me down in the grand scale of things, because like really, he's never reached the heights what I seen him as a kid. And everyone will ever tell you like that knows Nicholas Bentner was like, that kid was one of the hottest prospects in Europe at the time.
I think maybe it's the same thing. The impression that I got from him from
Ego,
what I saw
bro.
is that he thought he was a finished article.
Big time.
You never think that.
Yeah, nah, you gotta stay hungry. You gotta stay hungry.
Yeah.
And he had a massive ego, man. Like he went to Birmingham City as well, and like I remember I spelled it for Blues as well, and they said he was always like a little bit of a wild boy and that, but different gravy of football, mate.
Yeah. Do you think it's obviously you've had a journey from going from that, football, having that career probably set out for you? Do you ever look back on it and miss it, regret it? And do you think that you could actually, can footballers have a spiritual awakening? Can they do the two?
But I think that football is obviously I don't think it promotes spiritual kind of consciousness in football. It's a working class man's game, isn't it? And like the changing room is full of banter.
Yeah.
So you would be the odd one out if you was literally trying to talk about Buddha and Jesus in there. Although I know players outside England are very spiritual. You know what I mean?
Definitely. You got like who's it? The Brazilian.
Neymar.
Yeah, Neymar, and the one that was playing for AC Milan. No, he used to give like half his. What's his name? I can't remember his name.
Yeah. There's been a few, but
loads of them.
Yeah, there's loads. I mean, Brazil's like obviously a very spiritual place, so all the players are really spiritual. And my friend said recently that he went to the Bernabeu, and literally as you walk down out to the tunnel. On the left, there's a chapel where the players go to pray before like they even play. So it's definitely something that's going on in Europe and obviously around the world. But English football teams, I think spiritual stuff would not really be in the changing room.
Do you think England's kind of lost touch with its religious history?
I think so. I mean, obviously there was a lot of problems that happened with religion in the past, but I still think connection to spirit is massively important for a really successful life. And yeah, I do feel that England's kind of fell into the trap of materialism and exterior like motivations, you know. For example, when you go to Thailand and these people have hardly got anything and their eyes are lit up, they look fresh, they just look illuminated. And that's like the average person. And the average person, when you walk around England, they look like they're having a tough time, man.
It's the weather, man. It's the weather.
Yeah.
Fucking miserable out there.
So I definitely think England needs a renaissance in spirituality. But like, it's a way. There needs to be a way that it can be sold to the people.
Russell Brand.
Russell Brand, yeah, he's a pioneer at the moment. Jay Shetty, he's a pioneer.
Russell Brand for Prime Minister.
Yeah.
He had a go at it, didn't
It looked like him.
he? Yeah, he had a run at it.
Yeah. So I definitely think, like you said, Russell Brand, people like that, they're paving the way. They're like making it cool to think like this, because that's what it is. I mean, the MTV world, that's like pumping sort of materialism. Do you know what I mean? It's pumping that kind of that vibe.
With all the reality TV.
Yeah, and like, no offense, but like kind of the days of the priest in the white gown and everything. Yeah, like the younger generation aren't really like on that so much, you know.
No.
And
Still play songs of praise on BBC One, don't they?
Yeah. No, the old ones.
Once a week.
Yeah, I think every Sunday. I feel like a lot of young people are going to church now, to be fair. I don't think it's... I don't know, a lot of young people that I know anyway are going to church.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. That
It's
they
a
do
great
that.
thing, bro.
But it's each to their own. I mean, I don't think it's bad that people don't go to church, and I don't think it's good. But I always say, like, 'cause people say to me, come to church, and it's just not my thing. But I've been. And I'll say to them, they come up to me after and they go, oh, well, what do you think of that? Like, expect me to say, nah, it's shit. Well, no, it's good. If you've got good, positive people,
Good community.
sending a good message,
Yeah.
it's good. Like, but that's your thing, and like some people need to go to church. Me, I can just do it on my own, innit?
Yeah.
So it's just different how people do it, but I definitely think it's on the rise.
Yeah. I think them places are like just there for people to connect together in a community, and like you said, it's a positive vibe in it, and it's a healthy, clean vibe in it. That's why I go to church on Sundays, and I go to the one in New Age churches where they're all like singing, it's electronic music. You got the pastor on there, he's talking about real things, and it's like all strobe lights and everything going off. You know what I mean? And for me, coming from like a nightclub kind of background, it's filled the void for me, because once I stopped like partying, I was kind of like sat there on the weekend. I'm like, so what's this? Is it this it? Do you know what I mean? Do I just sit there and watch Match of the Day and like just watch daytime TV? I was like,
You need to replace it with something, and it is.
You want to dance, you want to sing, you want to kind of like hug people, and like in the place that I go to, you can do that, but without alcohol, without like all that stuff, and you're not going to get in a fight. Like you're probably going to get a hug. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Is it that, it's that sense of community? I think maybe that's lost. I know there was a guy who started like the Church of No Religion, and it was just like positive vibes almost. It's just like he wanted to start a religion that had no religion. It didn't really have a deity at the top of it. It was just
A higher power.
a higher power, and we all agree that we're all going to come here of all faiths and not really have a faith, if that makes sense. So it's mad, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Faith in
I
each
think
other.
it's missing. I don't know, but it's obviously something. Like you just said, it's obviously something that's missing from. You talk to be quite closed off now, and you're from like you don't really talk to the people in the streets. They do. They're aware. You talk to be quite paranoid.
Well, in a world of the biggest communication that we've ever had in all of history, we're the most disconnected that we've ever been, like sort of socially and speaking to each other. Everyone's in a love affair with their phone. Do you know what I mean?
It's true.
And so
And it is mad to think that you can be in so much communication with, because you are still in communication with people. You're texting and you're messaging on different platforms and stuff like that. But that face to face, that face to face kind of like, you know,
when you're plugging into someone like
this,
it's good, man.
Do you know what I mean?
When you was talking earlier about like the meditation thing, I was listening to something and they were talking about getting two strangers, to just stare into each other's eyes unbroken for 4 minutes.
Mm.
And like they'd had people break down and like have like spiritual experiences and stuff.
I
And it's-
know that's the truth as well.
And it's mad because like, and they were getting it with like people of complete opposite backgrounds and everything else, and just to break down barriers. So that thing when you was talking about the meditation, of like you're not almost feeling into it for a long time, but then almost falling into it because you go past like a breaking point. If it makes,
There's
do you know what I
different.
mean?
Yeah, there's different barriers. I mean, like through the meditation, the longer you stay in the meditation, I mean, you come to a point when you go past an hour or so, where literally it's almost like a cliff, and literally it's just blackness, and if you can just jump over it into nothingness, and that's like liberation. Your mind just literally like just shoots up in like it lights up. And if you listen to all the mystics on like YouTube, they all talk about this black cliff that you come to when you go super deep into meditation, that you come past and stuff. So there are definitely levels within the meditation, just like there's levels within exercise, you know.
Yeah.
And I think people think, oh yeah, if I just meditate, I'm just going to shut my mind off. I'm like, nah, you can literally become drunk, you can feel nirvana, you can literally be like, feel orgasms all around your body for like the longer that you can hold this meditation.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's incredible, you know.
My experience of meditation, I remember the first time I went into a deep meditation, I was in almost like a marquee or something. I remember looking up and I was in a marquee, and I noticed I was in a marquee, and the top just fell away and just opened me up to the universe, like, and I just felt like boom, like fuck,
Like an astral plane.
I've been fucking like I've been like closed in. Do you know what I mean? So I was like boom, like I spoke to someone about it. I said it sounded like you slipped into a dream state. I was like nah, because I could remember, because they tell you when they're teaching you how to do it, they tell you to like concentrate on your feet and your legs and stuff and work your way up your body. So I could still feel my body, like I was conscious, but at the same time, like because my eyes were closed, it's insane, man.
Oh mate, it's amazing, and I'm super proud of you to get to that level, because that takes a lot of dedication, man. But yeah, it's amazing. I go to like an astral plane, but it almost looks like, yeah, it's like stars and loads of stuff, and sometimes like different colours. You can see your chakra colours as well. That's how I know they're real. You can see the purples, the greens, the oranges. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff.
It's deep.
Yeah. So it's definitely something for the listeners to get involved in.
Yeah, definitely. I need to do more meditating. I've done it a few times, but it's like I say, it is time and it is brain training. Like we talked about earlier, you need to kind of train yourself.
To be still. Stillness, innit? Like sometimes you're always on the move, man, always on the move, sleeping. Your mind's still going when you're dreaming, but like just that stillness, man, we need it.
Yeah, basically like what your man was saying here was like we got like this anxiousness in society, and when you were saying that these two people were staring at each other for 4 minutes and people were breaking down, like I can relate to that, because like sometimes when I do the meditation with people, like I like hold their hand, and for them it's like super weird to start with, you know. They're like, well, it's got to get gay and that. You know what I mean? I'm like, nah, bro. Like I just want to like connect with you. I want you to feel what I'm feeling and that. And literally, like they automatically like we both feel a peace after like the kind of awkward first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's like we need to like get to that level in the community, in society, where we're like not got this anxiousness, because that anxiousness breeds hate, it breeds kind of all these negative emotions, this separation, this fear.
It's like
you know?
you're automatically on the defensive, aren't you? When you're
Yeah.
anxious.
Don't let me pull out the Yoda quotes in that.
Bring out the Yoda quotes, bro. Only you.
I've got to do the Yoda voice as well.
Do it, bro.
You obviously want it.
I've got to. Really.
You haven't got it.
I'm not going to. So fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Yes.
Bad boy quote, man.
Yeah.
Come on. It's the truth.
There's a lot of hidden truths in Star Wars, man.
Yeah.
A lot of the great films are like that, man. They've always got a deep element of truth. It's like that film Lucy, you know, where like with Scarlett Johansson,
Yeah.
and literally
She goes into the computer.
yeah, in the end she becomes like the ultimate consciousness, doesn't she? When she becomes 100%. But literally, like she ingests some drugs, and basically they unlock more and more of her brain as time goes on. So she goes to like 10%, then 20% she's manipulating like matter.
Okay.
And like it just goes more and more, but it's like obviously that's a really, really over the top level. But I mean, you've only got to go to like Asia, and there's monks who are 1 billion% levitating off the floor via their mind. You know, I totally believe that. There's a guy called.
I believe it when I see it.
Okay, so
No, I'm not-
there's this
I'm
one,
not
yeah.
into-
There's this one, yeah. There's a guy called he's called Buddha Boy,
Cool.
right? And basically, he's been meditating. The BBC did a documentary on him. He'd been meditating under a tree with no food or water for 10 months. And they reckon, yeah, all the scientists were going there. Right, 100,000 people come to like put a shrine around him. He stopped doing it now. He stopped about a couple of years ago, and it was all big news and that. And they reckon he was using photosynthesis, yeah, like a tree, to give him energy to feed him and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like 16 years old. And when he came out of the meditation, he literally like sat in front of like about 100,000 people and told them what he'd learned in his meditation from going to these different realms of consciousness and speaking to these entities and all this sort of
There's
stuff.
a documentary on that as well.
Yeah, so go on, this is for the listeners as well, go on YouTube and type in Buddha Boy, and there should be a BBC One documentary on him. It's about an hour long,
Right.
and it talks about his journey.
Could have watched that.
So yeah.
Yeah, that sounds sick.
But he's not the one that was floating. I was waiting for you to tell me he
Oh,
started
no,
floating
no.
and that.
Well, there's another guy that went into the Himalayan mountains to go and watch this old guy levitate off the floor. And if you type that into YouTube, like man levitates in the Himalayas or something,
Yeah.
some guy actually went and did a proper documentary. And the guy did levitate off the floor, like so.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think it's camera tricks. And literally, he promised that his higher power that he would never show the world, but literally. The state that the world's in, it needs to feel that he said
Hope.
it needs to have hope. So literally, he did it for the cameras for the first time ever in his like sort of his religious belief because he felt like the world needed to see that.
When was this? Recently? Or?
Now this was, I mean, I watched that documentary maybe 2 years ago, and so probably a couple of years ago. But you can find it on YouTube, you
I'll have a
know.
look, I'll have a look.
Yeah, definitely. I think like they don't want you to see things like that though. So I was saying earlier, they want you to see reality TV.
Yeah,
They
no,
want you to they want to numb you down. They don't want you to see that Lucy, like you were saying, and she's going to 100%. Even like the guy meditating for 10 months.
Yeah.
You got to think like what's the link between that? So like the longevity of it. How long do people meditate? I mean, starving themselves for now. Because when they're starving, intermittent fasting, what's sort of the longest someone's done it for?
It's probably his geezer 10 months, isn't it?
yeah.
But yeah,
Smashed all kinds of records.
yeah, it's like basically.